World Series on plenty of HD TVs. Check their website at jestersdivebar.com for their full schedule of live music.
Thank you for supporting these great local restaurants from Town Square Media, South Jersey.
When you hear this,
they've got him again,
and this,
he scored,
and this,
oh boy, what a move by Embiid!
You think of us. We are sports. 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Tuesday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Game 7. That's how we start off the show. Game 7. Yes, Game 7 of the World Series is tonight. And the Phillies have never played in a Game 7 in their franchise's history. So we will get to some thoughts on the Philadelphia Phillies here during the hour. Plus, in about 20 minutes, we'll be joined by Mike Sando from The Athletic, covers the NFL. They came out with a new book, did Mike Sando and the folks at The Athletic, ranking the top 100 football players all time. And I got some tough questions for Mike because I think there's some players he left off the list. So we'll get to some football with Mike a little bit later in the hour. But right now, send your text in 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Let's get into the Phillies Game 7. And, you know, I can't use all of my people I talk to as a full reflection of what people feel like, but I tend to believe that what the reaction that people were having last night, at least on my texts, were similar to other people, which is this lineup let everyone down last night. It was a complete and utter letdown the way this team executed. It was frustrating. It was maddening. And at the end of the game, it made you feel like, well, that was a disgrace. And for as much as I have pushed and pushed and pushed for certain things to happen, I'm fully aware that Rob Thompson is going to do what he thinks is best. And if Rob Thompson believes that you got to ride with your horses and you got to ride this lineup to the promised land, look, he's the manager. And so when Rob Thompson was asked about a couple hours ago, why no lineup change? When he said this, I understood where he was coming from. I might not agree with it, but I understand it. Take a listen.
So we are in the playoffs. We're 8-4 from a plus 31 run differential in the playoffs with this lineup, basically this lineup. Stott has the second best batting average with runners in scoring position in our lineup, and Bohm is third. Marsh is first. He's only had 5 at-bats with runners in scoring position. So to move people around at this point just doesn't make much sense to me. So that's my answer.
And if that's Thompson's position, from my angle, from where I'm sitting here in the 973 ESPN studios, speaking to all of you out there listening into the show, thank you as always for listening to 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Tuesday night. Phillies baseball Game 7 coming up. Coverage begins at 7:30 today on 97.3 ESPN FM and a 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. From where I'm sitting, Rob Thompson is doing the ultimate. If we win or lose, it's not my fault. That's what Thompson's doing. Thompson is turning this on the players. Last night, And in game 3, the Phillies players lost the game. Now, if you want to make an argument that Thompson should have done things differently in game 4, and that's why they lost game 4, I can let you have that one. But games 3 and game 6, the players lost it. The Phillies offense last night had 10 strikeouts in the game. 10 of the team's 49 strikeouts in this series all happened last night. And there were 13 in game 3. So that means 23 of the team's 49 strikeouts came in 2 of their losses in this series. So for me, I'm frustrated with the offense. I think the offense is the biggest conundrum for this team right now. You have a team that has all this talent, and yet they're Jekyll and Hyde. They averaged 2.3 runs per game in their 3 losses and 7 runs in their 3 wins. So even though someone like me says, shake up the lineup, do something, swap Stott and Marsh, right? Do something about this situation. Just because I say that doesn't mean the Phillies should do it. And because they didn't do that, we're going to find out what this team is really made of. What is the mental fortitude of this lineup, this team, this organization? We're going to find out tonight. In the 141 years of the Phillies franchise's existence, there has never been a Game 7 in baseball for this franchise. And now you're in prime time. The tickets for tonight's game, as I wrote at 973ESPN.com earlier today, the tickets for today's game were cheaper than Game 6. So it was less expensive for you to go see history tonight than it was to go to last night's game. All the burden is on this offense tonight. It's not on Ranger Suarez. It's not on the bullpen. It's not on Rob Thompson right now. The burden has been clearly placed on the offense. Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Bohm, Stott, Real Muto, Castellanos, and yes, even Marsh. The burden of this game is on you. And it's not on anyone else. If you accept this responsibility and you step up to the plate and own this moment, you could be going back to the World Series. We are going to find out what this team's mental fortitude is. Because everything looked good this entire postseason. The way you handled the Marlins, the way you beat up on the Braves, the way you got up 2-0 in this series. And then Arizona got you into the desert. Then Arizona got you where they wanted you. 2:00 Pacific time for Game 3. Humidifier in the building for Games 3 through 5. And then Zach Wheeler had an amazing game in Game 5. It got you the 3-2 series lead. You came back to Philadelphia. You had every reason to win, and you couldn't get the job done. Whether you were overthinking, you were pressing, whatever the reason was, you didn't get the job done. So now what do you do tonight? 609-403-0973 is the text board. Texture chimes in and says, I went to the game last night. I'm not sure who the crowd noise affected more, the opposing pitcher or the home batter. Is it harder to concentrate with all that noise in the batter's box or throwing the ball? I'm thinking the crowd needs to be quiet when the Phillies are in the batter's box. Then the crowd needs to make noise when the Diamondbacks are in the batter's box. Sorry for the long text. Well, first of all, you have to apologize for the long text. Second of all, I think everyone's different. I think things such as noise affect people differently. You know, I know it's a fictional movie, but I think of Kevin Costner and for the love of the game when he's, does the mechanism thing and he doesn't hear the crowd noise anymore and he just focuses on the game. And then at the end of his final outing, he can't get focused anymore and the crowd starts affecting him. I think that sound affects people differently. So I don't know if necessarily affects the players or the hitters or the pitchers more. I do think that if you're not used to that environment, it can affect you. I think if you're not used to being in that type of loud environment, yes, it can affect you. Pitcher or hitter, it doesn't matter. That's how I look at it. To me, when the Phillies won games 1 and 2, it was in large part because the crowd was behind them. And the crowd basically carried them to the finish line. That's at least how I look at it. Really quick, before we get to break, because we got Mike Sando from The Athletic coming up in a few minutes. I didn't want to overlook the big news from yesterday. When they acquired Kevin Byard yesterday, did the Eagles. To me, if the Phillies were not in the National League Championship game, we should be talking this for 5 hours today. But because the Phillies are in the National League Championship game, we barely got to talk about this on the Sports Bash yesterday and today. And I'm going to try to squeeze in a little note on this right here on GameNight on 97.3 ESPN. I think the Kevin Byard acquisition is one of Howie Roseman's greatest moves. This is going to go down in his top 5 greatest hits. When someone asks you, what a musical artist's greatest hits are, this is going to be one of Howie Roseman's, platinum record kind of deals. He acquired a 2-time All-Pro safety. A guy who was just an All-Pro in 2021. This is a man who has started every game for the Titans. Since 2017, he has compiled 27 interceptions and 419 solo tackles and 104 games started, and he's only 30 years old. He is the best safety the Eagles have had since Malcolm Jenkins. And Byard was born in Philadelphia. He grew up as his favorite player was Brian Dawkins. And now you're bringing Byard onto an Eagles team who is 18th passing defense in the NFL. They had the 4th fewest interceptions in the league. And they have allowed the 4th most passing touchdowns in the NFL. And Howie Roseman said, it doesn't matter that we beat the Dolphins. We still got to upgrade. We're not hoping Justin Evans comes back healthy. We're not depending on Reed Blankenship being a number 1 safety. We're going to get a legitimate number 1 safety. And now the Eagles go from being one of the best teams in the NFC to being the surefire favorite in the NFC, because this is the kind of move that changes the dynamics of a football team. This is not just a fringe addition. This is a bona fide elite player being added to your football team. We'll check back in on the text board a little bit later in the hour, 609-403-0973. Also your DMs into 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Coming up next, we'll talk with Mike Sando from The Athletic. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Don't forget you can download for free thanks to First Bank of Seattle City.
Catch Phillies playoff baseball on 97.3 ESPN.
In there, got him looking. No argument from Perdomo. And Suarez with 5 shutout innings. He struck out 7.
Can the Phillies make a return trip to the World Series this season? Listen to find out.
It's the National League Championship Series. Phillies Diamondbacks.
Game 7 tonight. Coverage begins at 7:30. The road to the World Series starts here on 97.3 ESPN.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card, good to use at no reservations in Galloway for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
SeizeTheDeal.com.
At Simply Safe, our award-winning home security has advanced sensors, HD cameras, and now this 24/7 LiveGuard protection. Only from Simply Safe. Monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Now get 45% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Don't get tricked this October into overpaying for a used vehicle. Get to Matt Black Kia and buy a brand new 2023 Kia Forte LXS, just $19,999. You heard right, a brand new Kia with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty for under $20,000. Why would you buy a used vehicle? Stuck in a loan or lease? Matt Black Kia wants to get you released, and it's the only place you can drive with peace of mind with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Plus, you can drive with 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days on every new Kia in stock. We want to finance your future, not your past. So come get your new Kia Forte for under $20,000. But when they're gone, they're gone.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
With approved credit, not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. Rebates and incentives to dealer expires 11/5/23. Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Toms River.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Bank of America is the proud employer of over 210,000 teammates who go above and beyond to support their clients' financial goals. Like Emily, who helps clients create a plan to build the future they want. Like a wedding, having kids, or retirement. All real achievements her clients have shared photos of. For all your financial goals, we're here to listen and help. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/about. Bank of America N.A. member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
Your palace awaits. Caesars Palace Online Casino is now live. Download today and register using code RADIOLAUNCH. New users get a $10 sign-up bonus, a 100% deposit match up to $1,000, and 2,500 reward credits after wagering $25. Must be 21 and physically present in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, or West Virginia. Minimum wagering within 7 days required to unlock bonuses. Full terms and wagering requirements at CaesarsPalaceOnline.com/promos. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In West Virginia, all games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly.
Now's the time to get your place ready for company with up to 40% off select online baths at the Home Depot, because the holidays are coming to town. And so are your friends, your family, and their friends and family. So let the Home Depot help get your bathroom guest ready with the Tabana Vanity and the matte black Oswell faucet from Glacier Bay. For more storage and a new modern look, refresh your space with up to 40% off select online baths. Plus, get free delivery on all online vanities and faucets from the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
WellCare of New Jersey is now Fidelis Care. We're the health plan you know with a new name and look. If you're a member, nothing is changing. You have the same benefits and services and can continue to see the doctors you trust in our New Jersey network. And if you need health insurance, count on us for quality, affordable coverage. WellCare of New Jersey is now Fidelis Care. Call 1-888-453-2534, TTY 711, or visit fideliscarenj.com.
Hey, it's Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow, and I've been exploring exciting destinations all over New Jersey, sponsored by the New Jersey Division of Travel and Tourism. October's winding down, but it's still corn maze season, and my family loves Stony Hill Farms in Chester. This year's maze theme is Buy Fresh, Buy Local. How appropriate. Stony Hill also has mini mazes, weekend hayrides, a giant board game, pumpkins, apples, and some of the best apple cider donuts I've ever eaten. Find your perfect New Jersey getaway with ideas and a free travel guide at visitnj.org.
Discover, this is Danny.
Hi, it's Jen Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great. But with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Are you hungry? Because everyone left after the asparagus sorbet.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
Watch every Phillies postseason game with the fans at Yuri's Waterfront Restaurant. Yuri's will be open for every Phillies game 1 hour before first pitch. And Yuri's is open Saturdays and Sundays at noon for college football, Penn State, and the NFL ticket. Yuri's has a great pub menu with drink and appetizer specials during the games. If you love sports, you'll love watching the games at Yuri's. Open for every Phillies game and weekends with the NFL ticket. Yuri's Waterfront Restaurant, exit 4A off the Parkway next to the boathouse at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood.
Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
GameNight being brought to you by Jenkins & Sons. One call does it all. No need to call the drain guy, the heater guy, or the plumbing guy. Just call Jenkins at 609-641-6440 for new heating and air installation, service and maintenance, ductless air conditioning systems, water heaters, boilers, drain cleaning services. Jenkins has got you covered with it all. 609-641-6440 and online at JenkinsandSons.com. Overall, the DM mobile app. James chimes in. You can make another small move. I think it's not going to be a big move. The only reason why I say that is because I think the fire move was the move that was the position that was most came into training with 5 things. Rookie City Brown, who's just drafted. Signed a veteran Terrell Evans. Justin Evans, who brought in New Orleans. And then you also had the Bulldogs. And then you had Kevon Wallace. And the Eagles decided they were going to go with just the 4 minus Wallace. So your starters were basically Blankenship and Evans, and then Edmonds and Brown who can play. Well, Evans has already shown you this year he can't stay healthy. Now he had a neck issue, now he's got a knee. Reed Blankenship, he has missed 2 games to a rib season. Okay, fine. But then what is the thing that the Eagles had to address? Because they were very, 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 very fortunate that they did not get taken advantage of by Miami Dolphins on Sunday night. The Eagles were on the field with a rookie and a guy who shouldn't even be playing right now in the Eagles defense. And that's why part of getting fired was moving on from Edmonds. It was a double addition because you moved on from a guy who obviously is not in for me, I don't. If they make another move, I would assume it would be maybe they sign another wide receiver or linebacker. I'll be afraid. I think Howie had one trade in the and I think this was there was a lot of reporting out there for people like Albert Greer, SI. One of the guys who I saw say this apparently the Eagles are going a lot of teams out. Considering that the Panthers just put Jeremy Chin on their injured reserve today, it looks like Byard was the best case winning scenario for the Birds. So I think another small move, I don't think it'll be a trade. If they do make another trade, I'll be surprised, honestly. I think I would be surprised for 2 reasons. One, because I don't see an obvious trade to be made. You know, like I said, maybe receiver or linebacker for depth purposes. Quez Watkins is on injured reserve. So he's going to miss 4 games. And he's already missed a couple of games due to the hamstring injury he's been dealing with since back in training camp. They signed Julio Jones. Jones got 1 catch on Sunday Night Football. It's obvious that they don't have some major plans for him in a role. This is an organization that has had Devin Allen and Greg Ward and Joseph Enada and all these different guys on the team in the last couple months, and they haven't used almost any of them for any reason. You guys still got Alamed Zacchaeus out there. You're barely using him right now. So I don't know if there's room for a wide receiver. Linebacker is interesting because Dean missed some games. Cunningham stepped up. Morrow did a solid job. Are you okay with those three guys moving forward? Do you look at maybe needing one more player, one more depth piece? If they do add someone, I'm assuming that's where they would go. Now, I know people like Sal Palantonio have talked about the team's need for a running back. And listen, I don't think Sal's wrong. I do think there's something to be said for the fact that you brought in Rashad Penny with the idea that he was going to be your power back. And you saw on Sunday night that unless this team is doing the brotherly shove or the tush push, whatever term you want to call it, the quarterback sneak with the whole offensive line bursting forward in unison. Unless you're doing that situation, it seems to me that the Eagles need a running back in some capacity. It seems to me that they desperately need somebody else. And that's kind of how I look at it, at least. I look at it as if you could add a running back, right? If you could get a guy who can be that 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 2 and 3 power back, because it's not Gainwell. The Eagles have tried to pigeonhole Gainwell into this role that he's not uniquely equipped for. And no offense to Swift, but I don't want to run him too much more than he's already running. This is a guy who got overused in Detroit and his body broke down. So he needs to be in a timeshare to be the most effective and impactful. I think if you can keep Swift healthy for 17 games, he's going to be a top 5 rusher in the NFL. So you can't ask him to go out there and be the down back. You need a guy who's physically able to be in a timeshare. Now, do you call the Patriots and say, you guys aren't using Zeke Elliott to, bring him over here? Are you somebody who calls, a team like Indianapolis and says, hey, you got Jonathan Taylor under a big contract. Do you want to give us Moss? You want to part with him? You do something like that. I could see that happening, James. I don't think it's going to be a big name. I don't think it's going to be some crazy name because there's no room for that guy. There's no room for a big name guy on this team at running back because of Swift's role and his explosion and what he's meant to this team. I'm sure there are other, short yardage backs. Dameon Pierce was really good last year for Houston. Do you call Houston and be like, you want to give up on your guy already? Because he's not playing so well for you this year, as well as the Eagles saw him on Thursday Night Football. I know half of the listening audience here on 97.3 ESPN didn't see the Eagles-Texans game last year because it was the same night as the Phillies in the World Series. But the reality is that Dameon Pierce had a very good game. And that was the precursor for people like me being worried going into the Washington game. And they lost the Washington game. And that was the precursor for why people were wondering, man, they need more bodies on the D line. And it was performances like Dameon Pierce against the Eagles defense last year that necessitated Howie Roseman to sign Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh. So, maybe you call Pierce. I think the problem for the Eagles is it can't be a big name also because they are invested in the Kenny Gainwell experiment. They like Gainwell. They think highly of him. But I think that Gainwell is starting to show you that he is not as good as the Eagles maybe hoped he would be. Swift obviously has more explosion and more athleticism than Gainwell does. And Gainwell is just not a good enough in between tackle runner. He doesn't have enough girth on him. I mean, the guy, I mean, what is Gainwell? Like 210 pounds? Let me double check. But I mean, he can't be that big of a guy. He looks small. I don't remember his number off the top of my head, so let me look it up. But I mean, I'm assuming he's at best 205, 210 is his weight. Because he's only like 5'9", 5'10". Let's see here. Kenny Gainwell. All right. The Eagles list him as, he's less than I thought. He's 200 pounds. Poor Eagles wouldn't even let him hit the scale after lunch. They get about 200. They wouldn't even remember, or maybe you don't remember. If you played sports in high school, right? So I played sports in high school. If you were not a certain height or weight, they would do all kinds of shenanigans to get you to look better in the team program, right? So like for me, I'm not the tallest guy in the world. I'm not the shortest guy either, but I'm not the tallest either. So when they listed me as 5'10" in the team program, that was a lie. I've never been 5'10" in my life. What did they do? They said, Josh, put your cleats on and walk up next to the wall and stand as straight as tall as you can, and we'll round up. Never been 5'10" in my life. But in the high school program, I was 5'10". For weight, if there was a skinny person, they would tell them, hey, put your equipment on and we'll weigh you with all of your clothes and equipment on. The Eagles could have done Gainwell a solid and said, hey, Kenny, come in here with your helmet and your pads on and we'll weigh you there. I mean, goodness, he's listed as 200. Yeah, he ain't knocking anybody off the ball. That's for sure. Over on the text board, 609-403-0973. Phil in Brigantine says, Josh, would Clyde Edwards-Helaire make any sense? He's a former first rounder that's obviously lost his way in Kansas City. Clyde Edwards-Helaire's biggest problem is health. It's not talent. Because like you said, Phil, he's a first round pick. And he was part of that LSU team that won a national championship with Joe Burrow. The young man is phenomenally talented. He's a phenomenal athlete. Could he be a guy? Maybe. I'm curious to see. I have to look it up what his contract looks like. Now, according to Pro Football Reference, he's listed at 5'8" and 208. So he's not exactly bigger than Gainwell. So I'm not sure he's solving the problem either. He's not big enough. He's not big enough. So I like the outside the box thinking, Phil. I like the fact that you brought something to the table. It's a good job by Phil and Brigantine texting it at 609-403-0973. But that maybe is the type of player I'm looking at, a guy who is kind of on the outside looking in with his current team. Looking at his contract, I mean, he's going to be he's set to be a restricted free agent after this year. So that would be appealing for Kansas City to maybe get a draft pick for him because they probably won't bring him back. I mean, he's smaller than Pacheco. So he doesn't really fit the role either. But like I said, I appreciate Phil thinking outside the box. Yeah, the problem with Helaire is he's too small for me. If you're bringing in a running back, it's got to be a guy who has got some meat on the bones. He can't be lighter than me. I mean, I'm about 200 pounds. So maybe the better thing to say is he can't be my size, my weight. The only guy I've ever met or I've ever seen in my life, I can't say I met him. I actually saw him at an event. I didn't actually meet him in person. The only guy I've ever seen who I know could run somebody over or break a tackle who is around my size is Darren Sproles. And I guarantee you he was shorter than me, but I also guarantee you Darren Sproles squats and deadlifts more than I ever have in my life. I mean, that guy was Mighty Mouse. That guy was built like a monster. And he was 5'6" on a good day. So traditionally, you don't want dudes who are 5'9" and 200 being your third and 3, second and 3 yards to go power back between the tackles, because they don't have the prerequisite leg drive to push forward if they get stopped in the gap. The reason why Hurts is so successful with the brotherly shove or the tush push or the whatever you want to call it is because Jalen Hurts squats 600 pounds. How many quarterbacks in the NFL squat 600? I mean, I heard Brian Baldringer bring this up on NFL Network. How many offensive linemen squat 600? And I think that's the difference for the running back. I need a running back who's got enough girth on his body to first take the hit and then be able to push forward with the strength in his legs. Gainwell and Edwards-Helaire are not doing that. Also on the text board at 609-403-0973. Jeff in Ocean City chimes and says, I was overconfident for game 6 and I'm underconfident for game 7. What's wrong with me? Well, listen, I think there were a lot of people who were confident going into last night, Jeff. I don't think it was just you. The Phillies were undefeated at home this season in the postseason before last night. And they came out flat, man. They came out and they looked like they had no juice, no life in their legs, nothing. And that was a problem. It was a problem that this team came out with no juice, no life, no nothing. And I don't think there's anything wrong with you, Jeff Notion today. I think there's something wrong with the Phillies. You know, I understand that baseball is a hard sport. Okay. I have been on record numerous times. I mean, I've had the good fortune of being on the radio in some capacity here on 97.3 ESPN, whether it's on daily shows or weekend shows since 2016. And I'm grateful to be sitting where I'm sitting. But I got to tell you guys, I've said this my entire life, whether it's here on the radio or elsewise, the hardest thing to do in sports is hit a baseball. So I'm totally understand that, you know, last night, the Phillies offense went cold for a reason. And whether they were overconfident, whether they were flat, whether they were overthinking, whatever the reason is, they were. Okay. The problem is that I'm not Bryce Harper. I'm not Kyle Schwarber. You're not JT Realmuto. You know, there's a reason why these guys are playing pro baseball and we're not. Because they are 10 times better than we could ever be. Not just they're better than us. See, baseball, to me at least, is one of those sports where the best players in the game are not marginally better than the dude who's not playing. Like, the gap between Bryce Harper, the baseball player, and you know, the guy who we played with in high school who was a good baseball player, right? Okay. It's a massive gap. All right. You know, I mean, I can sit here and name people I played high school baseball with. All right. And I can tell you that the best guy on my high school baseball teams was nowhere near Bryce Harper. And it certainly wasn't me who was the best player on the baseball team because, well, my depth perception stunk so bad. He took me out of center field and told me to play catcher because I couldn't see the ball in the air properly anymore. So, you know, the gap between the best players on earth in baseball and the, you know, what we knew and what we played against in high school, it's another galaxy. So, you know, I understand how hard it is to hit a baseball, especially because I wasn't very good at it. But I also understand that Bryce Harper's going to the Hall of Fame one day. Kyle Schwarber's setting records left and right. JT Realmuto is one of the best catchers, hitting-wise, of the last 20 years. Alec Boehm was one of the best players in baseball with runners in scoring position as a hitter. And none of these guys are getting the job done. Nick Castellanos, all-star. Team still had 10 strikeouts last night. 13 strikeouts in game 3. 49 in the series. And Justin and Galloway is right. It's win or go home. And you should be worried because at the end of the day, the pitching has not lost you this series if you lose tonight. It's the hitters. You're averaging 2.3 runs per game in your losses. You're averaging 7 runs in your wins. That's too much of a gap. If you told me you were averaging 3 runs in your wins, 3 runs in your losses and 5 runs in your wins, that's more of a manageable gap. Now it's more of a difference of a couple hits here, a couple hits there. But a 5-run difference between wins and losses on average scored runs, that's a huge gap. And I'm with you, Justin and Galloway. I do believe in Suarez as well. I think Rangers are going to go out there and have a great game. This guy is one of the coolest customers I've ever seen. He is so cool under pressure. Nothing phases this guy in the big moment. He just goes out there and does his job. I think you get 5 good innings out of Ranger tonight. I don't know if it's more than 5, but I think you get 5 really good innings out of him tonight. The question is, if Ranger goes 5 innings, gives up 1 run, has 90 pitches, gets pulled out of the game, is it 1-0 Diamondbacks or is it 4-1 Phillies? That's the caveat tonight when you hear Phillies baseball. Game 7 tonight on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. First pitch at 8:07 right here on your home for the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers, as well as college football and all the baseball playoffs and the entire Phillies postseason run is here on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tonight on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Listen as Tim Saunders and Todd Fedoruk bring you all the exciting play-by-play action.
He scores!
It's Flyers Golden Knights tonight. It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Coverage begins after Phillies playoff baseball.
When it comes to wings in the Delaware Valley, nobody beats the Piccalilli Inn. Whether it's South Jersey's best wings, tails, or ears, let them know you're sauce champion. All 10 delectable flavors are going head-to-head to battle for number 1. When it's game day, you just gotta head to the Pick. Visit them on Facebook or at piccalilli.com for their Pick Game specials. And be sure to pre-order to guarantee your spot in Sunday's lineup. Nobody beats the Piccalilli Inn. Visit the one, the only, the original Piccalilli Inn, Route 206 in Chemong.
It's Macy's Friends and Family, with early deals on everything you need to get ready for the holidays, like an extra 30% off brands that rarely go on sale with your coupon or Macy's card. And take 15% off fragrance, skincare, makeup, and more great beauty gift ideas now at Macy's. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. Savings off regular sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply. Find something so you at Macy's Friends and Family.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every touchdown, every game, every point, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. Whether it's a 99-yard pass to score a touchdown or a fumble in the first minute of the game. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be present in New Jersey. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
Exergen thermometers are the smart choice when selecting a thermometer. With children back at school, keeping them healthy is important. Got a fever? Stay home. To detect fever accurately at home, you need a fast, non-invasive, and clinically accurate thermometer. The Exergen thermometer is backed by over 100 clinical studies. Accuracy matters. Be smart and safe. Measure accurately with Exergen thermometers. Available at Walmart and other participating retailers. Learn more at Exergen.com. That's Exergen.com.
Hey, it's Mike Gill for Ambient Comfort, Heating, and Air Conditioning Professionals. This might just be the best sports month of the year. NFL, MLB postseason, NBA, and the NHL. But while you're enjoying October, it's getting colder and time to make sure your heating system is ready for winter. Don't wait. Call my friends at Ambient Comfort for their $79 tune-up special for new customers. For just $79, Ambient Comfort will perform a precision tune-up to make sure it's safe and running at max efficiency, prepared to get you through the football season and beyond, regardless of who originally installed it. Last year was mild. This year's predicted to be colder. If your bills were high last winter, maintenance or a new system from Ambient Comfort may help control rising energy costs. When comfort matters, choose Ambient Comfort. Visit AmbientComfortNJ.com. That's AmbientComfortNJ.com or call 609-568-0955 for a $79 heater or furnace tune-up when you schedule this month. Tell them Mike Gill sent you.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Now you can get a Walmart Plus membership, plus not pay for it, because it's included with Straight Talk wireless plans. You get free delivery with Walmart Plus a Paramount Plus subscription included. Plus, you pay less for gas. That's a lot of pluses.
Only Straight Talk gives you unlimited 5G data and Walmart Plus included on select plans for free.
Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Requires service on Gold or Platinum Unlimited. One offer per eligible account. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Watch every Phillies postseason game with the fans at Yuri's Waterfront Restaurant. Yuri's will be open for every Phillies game 1 hour before first pitch. And Yuri's is open Saturdays and Sundays at noon for college football, Penn State, Eagles, and the NFL ticket. Yuri's has a great pub menu with drink and appetizer specials during the games. If you love sports, you'll love watching the games at Yuri's. Open for every Phillies game and weekends with the NFL ticket. Yuri's Waterfront Restaurant, exit 4A off the Parkway next to the boathouse at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood.
Discover, this is Danny.
Hi, it's Jen Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great. But with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Are you hungry? Because everyone left after the asparagus sorbet.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
With GMF financing to qualify buyers excludes Corvette, excludes prior sales.
Everybody knows there's no beating Bennett. And right now, we're kicking off our end-of-year sell-down early with our best deals of the year. While most dealers are selling new vehicles at or above MSRP, Bennett's selling new Chevys at GM supplier employee prices. Yes, you pay what our supplier employees pay, not 1 penny more. Save even more with available 0% financing. And during our year-end sale, get our best offers ever on pre-owned vehicles. We'll pay a minimum $10,000 for any trade. Any trade. We don't care if it's got 1 million miles or 1 million dents. You still get a minimum $10,000 towards any pre-owned in stock. Imagine how much more you'll get if it's in good shape. And our non-commissioned sales staff is a delight to work with because they're paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. No need to negotiate, no hassles, no haggling. Find new roads at Bennett Chevrolet in Egg Harbor Township and BennettChevy.com.
Now, more game. Josh Hennig on Lap.
All right, wrapping up the Power Hour known as Game Night on 9.3 ESPN. Last chance to get on the text board, 694030973. Couple housekeeping items. Yes, the Flyers game will be coming on after Phillies World NLCS Game 7 tonight. So Phillies coverage begins at 7:30 on ESPN Radio. And the Flyers game will come on shortly after that. So whenever the Phillies game ends, we will transition to the Flyers game progress. I also want to remind everybody that tomorrow is going to be the final day of the qualifier for the 49ers giveaway. Live this Friday at Yuri's Riverfront Restaurant in Wildwood. I will be following up with as many people as I can for the next days. So, please with us, we're going to get to everyone that we can to qualify for the contest. So if you reach out from the text board wondering, when you're getting a phone call, when you're getting a call. It is coming. So thank you for your patience. We appreciate you guys listening to 97.3 ESPN. Another text coming in by Chris from Dover about a acquisition idea from the Broncos, coming in at 609-403-0973 on the text board. We talked about it a little bit earlier. For those who missed it, I'm very high on the Kevin Byard deal. I thought it was a great move. And then James chimed in and asked, could there be a smaller move? And so we were kind of getting into that, deep into that rabbit trail. Chris in Dover says, what about acquiring Jerry Jeudy and Samaje Ryan from Denver? Samaje P. Ryan. So Jerry Jeudy has been an abject disaster in the NFL. This guy was supposed to be one of the best wide receivers coming out of Alabama into the draft. This guy was supposed to be like the next, whatever you want to put him in category. Like he was supposed to be the next guy. And he's been the furthest thing from it. And, originally I thought the reason was because he didn't have a good enough quarterback or not a good enough offensive coordinator. But it ends up last year was the best year of his career. And either Russell Wilson is way worse than we all thought, or Jerry Jeudy is just not a good receiver. Because last year, Jeudy was averaging in a poor offense, 64 receiving yards a game. This year he's averaging almost 48 receiving yards a game. That's a huge drop off for a guy who's supposed to be with a better coaching staff and a better situation than last year. So maybe he's just a bust. And I don't know if I'm the Eagles, am I interested in taking on a project right now? I'm aspiring to win a championship. I don't know if I want to bring in a project mid-season. Now, if you told me, Chris in Dover, Delaware, that, hey, bring in Jerry Jeudy next training camp, then I'd be a little bit more interested in that. Because then what you're doing is you're bringing in a guy who can audition for the job. You're not bringing in a guy who I got to figure out halfway through the year that I may or may not keep him. Now, Samaje P. Ryan's interesting because while he's not having some spectacular year in Denver, I mean, he's got a lot of touches, honestly. He is a guy who historically has shown you he can be a bit of a bowling ball running back. In Cincinnati, he did that. He was the alternative to Joe Mixon for a few years there in Cincinnati. So, but the problem is that what is Samaje P. Ryan right now at 28 years old? Like, this is not like when you acquired Jay Ajayi, where Ajayi was still like an elite player coming off of an elite season. P. Ryan is having a nothing season. Like, the guy literally has 98 rushing yards on 26 carries in 7 games. He's been active for the Broncos. So, I mean, if you wanted to acquire him for a 6th-round pick swap with the Denver and hope for the best, you should have kept Trey Sermon. They should have never let Trey Sermon walk if they were going to just bring in a random flyer guy like Samaje P. Ryan. Yeah, P. Ryan's got the size, 236 pounds, but I don't know. I think when I got a little more production, that's why I said, Dameon Pierce, he's 1 year removed from a big year. That's the guy I would call about. Zeke Elliott, I would call the Patriots to be like, look, I saw Zeke week 1. He has some explosions still. Why not bring him here? The Patriots love Ramondre Stevenson. That's why Elliott's buried in that depth chart situation. Guys like that are people who I would call about. I mean, I would even call Atlanta. Be like, look, you guys won't want to give up one of your backup running backs to Bijan Robinson? That's where I would go. Thanks, everybody, for chiming in. I'm Josh, and this is Game Night Go Phil, 7:30 tonight.
This is South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia Eagles football with the legendary voice of the Eagles, Merrill Reese and Mike Quick. Philadelphia Eagles football on 97.3 ESPN is brought to you by
Ocean Casino. Get your game on at the Gallery Bar Booking Games in Ocean Casino this football season. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. GMS Law. Make the right call with 4 convenient locations to serve you and at gmslaw.com. Boardwalk Honda. Shop our lineup of new pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas online at boardwalkhonda.com. The Fan Zone at Sun Valley Pools, 29 West Sherman Avenue in Vineland. Unique fan gear and gifts for every fan of every team. Cape Regional Hospital, your healthcare partner for a healthier life in Cape May County. Jersey Shore Federal Credit Union. Choose better banking. And South Jersey Gas.
97.3 ESPN FM is your official home in South Jersey for Eagles football. 97.3 ESPN FM.